Hi everybody, Randy McKee along here with Carol with Soccer 605, and today we want to give you a little bit of a video about the Showcase tournament. We're all getting ready to head into a bunch of showcases this spring and summer, and we really want to get some information out to you that we think will help you. Carol has taken a lot of teams to Showcase tournaments and actually runs a major tournament that we're going to talk a little bit about here later. But let's just kind of quiz Carol here on some of the issues.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. All right. So of all the teams that you've taken, all the years you've been involved, all the people you know in the Showcase environment, what are some of the biggest mistakes that clubs and players and parents make when it comes to the Showcase environment?
Well, probably the first is not taking advantage of the opportunity that Showcases provide, because the Showcase tournament is designed for the college-bound player. If they want to play college soccer, the Showcases are a prime place to go. Another thing people probably don't do properly is adequately prepare for the Showcase tournament. There's a lot of legwork that can be done and should be done before the tournament ever comes up. And I use the word tournament, but a Showcase really isn't a tournament, and that's one of the other mistakes I'll talk about in a minute. But putting together a good, solid player profile and players thinking about that, and I'll address what all should be in that, and then identifying coaches that they want to go and talk to, that they would like to see. Most Showcases will have a list on their website of the coaches that are coming, and you should definitely look at those coaches that are listed on their site and identify those that you're interested in and contact them in advance. But a lot of college coaches don't sign up for Showcases because they don't want to get hit by blanket emails that people who are going to the Showcase send to everybody that's there. You know, the most valuable resource we have is time. And if you're wasting your own time to write and contact a college coach at a college you're not even really interested in or don't know where it's at, you're also wasting the coach's time to read it. So, you know, don't do that. Don't be one of those people that sends an email to every coach that's going to be there. First, you need to think about what you want for college. Where do you want to go to school geographically? Do you want to be close to home? Are you interested in traveling? What kind of climate do you want to have? Think about those things and identify. I always tell players by the time they're a freshman, they should have at least a list of maybe 20 schools that they're looking at. And then contact those coaches and let them know you're going to be at the Showcase. And maybe they weren't planning to go to the Showcase or were kind of thinking about it. Your contact might be what puts them over the edge. Or maybe they're already planning to go to that Showcase, but they've chosen not to sign up for the reason I mentioned earlier, and now they know you're going to be there.
Now, so not the list isn't going to contain every college coach that's there. And,
that's right.
And, you know, another thing I think you would probably let us know, too, is that how much these college coaches talk to each other.
Oh, yeah, that's another good point. You know, when Connor was, our youngest son Connor was looking at college soccer and where he wanted to go, he actually had coaches contact him that had heard about him from other coaches who had seen him play, that maybe he wasn't the person for their particular program, but they knew that another coach was looking for someone with his skills and abilities, and so he got contacted from coaches that never even saw him play or contacted him based upon another college coach's word, and they have a network out there. They talk to each other. So
he would never have been seen by that coach that he probably ultimately went and played for if he hadn't, if he'd had some excuse to not go that weekend.
That's right. Another coach saw him there and told him, and he got the opportunity to go and play there. So,
what do you think about parents who are overzealous in their pursuit of college coaches? It's so easy as a parent to be very enthused about your player. It's so easy to want to run them all down, but because you've talked to hundreds of college coaches about this, you know what they think about that.
Well, and it depends on the coach. Some coaches are a little more open to talking to parents, but for the most part, they have some NCAA rules, for one thing, that they need to be monitoring and cognizant of talking to people. But I'll never forget one time at Muscatine when Ramona Barber and her crew came zipping down to a field that we were at with in the cart and had to tell some parents that they needed to get on the other side of the field and quit bothering the college coaches or they were going to have to leave. And actually, they raised enough fuss that the parents got kicked out of the tournament. So
wow, were those parents that were along with your team or with the other?
No,
team?
They were with the other team. It was kind of fun to watch. You know, I was in charge of talking to college coaches there, so I didn't I was very careful about that. But parents need to understand that the college coaches are not recruiting the parents. They're recruiting the player. And they don't really want to talk to the parents until they know for sure that they're interested in the player. But then they do want to know, and they do want the whole family to be a part of it, because when your child goes off to school to play college soccer, your whole family becomes a part of that college community. So they want to know that you're supportive, but they also want to know that you're not going to be in their face talking to them about playing time for your son or daughter, or trying to coach the team when your role is simply to be a supportive parent.
Well, and that's one thing I've always talked a lot with the club players that I get to work with, that, you know, when you come to the team, you bring a lot of things. You bring your skill, you bring your desire, you bring a lot of things, but you also bring your little brother's birthday party, and you bring your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you bring a lot of other stuff into the team that has an impact on it. It may not be directly related, but it does have an impact. And you know, coaches want to see, I think, a good supportive environment, but they want to see the player making their own hay instead of mom or dad.
Right. They want to know the player's in a stable family environment and has been raised to make good decisions, and to be when they make a commitment to stay with it. I'll never forget another player whose name I won't mention, but who had a wonderful opportunity at an ODP. And ODP is whether you go to the camp or the tournament, that is a college showcase. Because there are college coaches that are there on staff, college coaches that are coming in to watch. This particular player, they wanted her for the regional pool and regional team, and was even already at a young age being considered for a very prestigious position with the youth national team. And unfortunately, she chose to return home and not stay for the regional holdover camp because she had a date.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And so everybody forgot who she is now, she probably even forgot about the date.
Yeah,
had she been able to go along and show her interest, she may have been a national team player.
She may have been. We may have. Hope Solo may be a thing of the past, or never was if this young lady had gone on. But the whole thing is that they want to know that the players can make mature decisions, and that her decision was not a mature decision. Understandable for a teenage kid that wants to go back and go for a date, but not understandable for a player who aspires to play at the highest level.
Bingo. Well, okay, you've done a lot of research on the college recruiting process, and actually we have a fantastic presentation they can get on Soccer 605, and we'll put that up, the address that you can go to get that. But in the whole recruitment process, how important is it to attend the showcase tournament as part of the process?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the showcases are designed specifically for the college-bound player. So that is where the college coaches are going, is to showcase tournaments. They're going to ECNL League for girls, they're going to ODP, they're going to the Academy program for boys. They're looking at those high-level events to choose their players if you want to play at a higher level. So I'd say the showcases are a very critical part of that. And a player who doesn't get out to a showcase is going to have a much more of an uphill struggle to find a good college soccer home.
They're basically self-limiting.
They are. They're limiting their options to the players, the coaches that can come and see them at the local tournaments that they play at, or whatever tournaments they're at.
Okay. So, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about the mistakes that clubs and teams and players and parents make. So let's talk a little bit about what to do in preparation for the showcase.
Okay. Well, first off, you should start looking at opportunities when you're a freshman. And parents of freshmen, they may think that's way early, but especially for girls, they're starting to be looked at if they want to go D1 when they're sophomores. So, you know, a lot of the D1 schools, this is 2013, the classes will be graduating. They've already got their incoming 2015 classes filled. Their rosters are mostly done. So they really need to think as a freshman to start getting ready as a sophomore and be getting out to those showcases as sophomores and juniors. You know, by the time you're end of your senior year, if you're going to a showcase in June and you've already graduated, you're probably not going to be looking at D1, or D2 or D3.
Well, like Joe Berger said at one of your presentations you had, if Notre Dame hasn't called by the time you're a junior, they ain't calling.
Yeah, Coach Berger really hit the nail on the head. So that's part of it, is thinking in advance. Preparing your soccer resume, and this is a document that continues to grow. I made a list here so I don't forget anything, but the first and foremost thing you have on it, of course, is your name and your contact information, email address, telephone numbers. A lot of parents will have a separate email address set up for college coaches that goes to both the parents and the players, because especially if you're starting to contact coaches as a 14-year-old freshman, the parents want to know what kind of contact is coming back on that. So have your contact information on there. Personal details. You want to know what year you're going to graduate. College coaches need to know that information. They want to know what position or positions you play. Height and weight is important for athletes of any kind. Your parents' name and their contact information as well. And then also include photos. Now, some people like to do a headshot, some like to do an action photo. If you do an action photo, I think it's really important to be able to show the face. So don't do an action photo of somebody doing a great tackle, but you're behind them and you can't even tell which one it is. So if it's an action shot, make it clearly distinguishable as to who the picture is of and make the face visible. Then it's important to put your soccer activities, your soccer information. What club do you play for? What high school do you play for? The name of your teams, and then some of those team accomplishments for both club and high school. And then also I'd put in there individual accomplishments. If you won MVP your freshman year, did you make the ODP team, and how many years have you played ODP or ID2 or whatever it might be. So those are important to keep on, and those are really individual accomplishments. If your ODP team has done really well and won the tournament or the showcase at Region 2, then you want to, of course, mention that as well. The next section then probably should be your soccer references. And your soccer references should definitely include your club's director of coaching and his contact information or her contact information. Your coach, the name of your coach, and your coach's contact information. For example, if you're a goalkeeper and you have a separate goalkeeper coach, you want to put that person's name down there. And of course, you need to make sure and ask their permission to put this in there. But most clubs, of course, are going to give you that permission. The next most important and a key part that needs to go in there is your academic information. And that goes back to another thing in preparing for a showcase or any kind of recruiting process. It's all about the grades.
That's the first question the coach asks. Literally every time I've talked to a coach about a player, the first question they ask is, what are the player's grades?
Yep. And so you need to have that information in there. What's their GPA? What's your GPA? Class standing? Your ACT or SAT scores, composite scores. If they're not taken, make a note when they're going to be taken so that the coach knows when they can seriously look at you, because for a lot of them the ACT is a requirement to get into the school anyway, and you have to have a minimum score to get there. And then it's also a good idea in your academic information to include obviously the name of your high school and the contact information, address, telephone number, and then also if you work with a counselor, and most college-bound athletes should be working with their school guidance counselor and have a relationship with that guidance counselor and include their contact information in there as well.
And I guess one of the things that we want to just touch on just very briefly is taking the ACT or SAT early, so you have a practice, and registering with the clearinghouses. Right,
and that's a really good point, because with NCAA, you have to register with the clearinghouse, and also now with NAIA, they have a clearinghouse. But getting that ACT, PSAT, doing those early, so that if they don't go the way you want them to, you have an opportunity to retake them. And if you get a really bad score, and you're going to be retaking it, then that's one of those times when you probably don't want to put the score down on there.
And even if you get a good score, you can always take it again and get a better score, because they'll take your best.
You're eligible for more dollars that way.
Yeah.
Something else in getting prepared for the showcase. I mentioned earlier getting a list of 20 coaches or college programs that you're interested in, using academic criteria as well as college soccer criteria, where you think you can fit and where you want to play. Get that list down, and I would drop an email to the coach, and I definitely would go to their website and look and drop the email to the head coach, and if there's somebody that's noted as the recruiting coach, send it to them as well. You can do the same email and put both their names in it so they're aware, each other's aware that they've got it. If you're a goalkeeper, you want to make sure it goes to the goalkeeper coach as well. And if you're a goalkeeper, there's a lot fewer spots for goalkeepers out there than there are for field players. So you're probably going to want to have a longer list than 20 schools to start off with, because the schools that you're interested in may not need a goalkeeper when it's time for you to graduate.
Yeah.
So,
All right. That's a great list, and I think I'm not sure, but you used to have a format for the player profile.
I do.
And so we'll also, maybe what we'll do is just put a link up on the Soccer 605 where you can go find this stuff we're talking about.
Something else I want to add, Randy, too, is that talking with some of the college coaches, I always encourage players to email them and let them know that they're interested in the school. And it's important to know a little bit about the school. You know, don't just send a blanket email that says, I'm interested in going to your school.
Yeah.
For example, I'll use one of my favorite out-of-state colleges, Northern Illinois University. If you're looking to go to Northern Illinois University, tell them why you think you'd make a great Husky, because they're the Huskies. And know a little bit about the school. Share that information with the coach and let them know that you've done your research, you know a little bit about them, and why you think you'd be a good fit there. And then the other thing is, NCAA rules won't allow the coaches to call you until later, but even as a freshman, you can call the coach. You and your parents can call and just say, hey, I'm interested. And it's always a good idea to do a follow-up, a phone call in addition to the email. You can get a lot more information. You can ask questions with the phone call. And emails, as you know, can kind of pile up. And you're not the only person that's emailing that coach on that particular day.
Well, and that's why one of the things I was reading earlier today is the power of a handwritten note. Thanking them for their interest. Now, one thing about calling a college coach, and you can do that, but normally you're going to get the answering machine and they will not return your call. You have to keep trying to call them because they can't return your call. So if they don't return your call, don't take it personally. It's just that they can't do it. You have to keep trying and keep calling. Try to find their cell number or use your network to come up with that information, because if you're clever and you use your network, there's a lot of people out there who can and will help you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and college coaches will appreciate that you've stayed with it. They like to know that if you get beat, you're going to stay with it and win the ball back.
Yep.
So
exactly.
that's exactly what you're doing and showing to them there.
Well, finally, Carol, you run a major showcase tournament in July for Region 2. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that.
That tournament is designed to showcase the state ODP teams, and last year was the first time that we brought together the two oldest age groups for boys and girls. We've always had them separately. This year we're actually going to have the three oldest age groups, so the tournament has grown tremendously. And then from the tournament we also have our regional championships, regional champions that are selected that go out onto the national tournament, which I'll actually be heading to next week to go to for the national ODP championships. But we have a lot of college coaches that come there. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we don't always have, the list isn't always complete because almost all of the coaches that are on our staff are college coaches. The coaches that are bringing teams in are mostly college coaches because it gives them an opportunity to not only work with the best players in their state, but to see who else is out there.
Yeah.
So it's really a great event, and we had, I can't remember how many college coaches we had there last year, but all divisions. So it was a great event.
Well, great. I know we're probably going to get some questions and asked to expand on some of the things we've talked about, and we'll probably be putting another video together. Maybe we can even have a series. But that's it for this one. Hope you enjoy it. I hope it does you some good. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with all the players and parents. And please, folks, none of this stuff, none of the success in soccer comes easily, and it's the same thing with playing at the right college. It takes a lot of work, and it takes some diligence. It takes some guts. There's going to be some rejection there, but you just have to, suck it up and dig in and get it done. Do the work.
If soccer was easy, everybody would be playing it.
That's right, even me. All right, thanks, folks, for watching, and thank you for being fans of Soccer 605. We really do appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Thanks.